Minshew, they gon' bench you. Well, it's already been announced. He going to the bench today, officially. Do y'all think that was the right decision?
I mean, they invested a lot of money, but for the season to go to where it is and for them to get rid of a major piece the way they did, I mean, they still in the playoff hunt, so I think that's probably what the move was, to see if Foles still had that same magic in him to come in and salvage the season and get us to the playoffs. I think that's what that move was about. But if you have a young quarterback and he's playing like that, and he's showing a lot of growth, and he's been consistent and throwing for over 300 yards, and doing his thing, with less. I think that might mess him up a little bit, but it could help him too by sitting back and watch Foles, his preparation and how he does his thing on the field. I think that would help him as well, but I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on it. It all depends, I don't like the move.
Okay, straight up. My biggest thing is like, Con, you just said that you want people to come out to the game and all that. The Mania had it popping, bro. Like that was your gateway to what you asked for, right?
You don't think Foles gonna have it popping?
No. How many Foles jersey you done seen?
You never know.
I done seen them people in 2 weeks buy way more Minshew jerseys than Foles, bro.
And that's because Foles only played 1 week of football and maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
They was about to put Minshew off the team, bro. Straight up. yeah, that way. That man made it by the skin of his teeth, came out there jock scrapping, and the rest history, bro. Foles done had hype. We already know Big Dick Nick. He coming from the Super Bowl MVP. He went mano a mano with Brady and beat Brady and all that, and they still wasn't hyped about that man. Matter of fact, secret time, that's what Coughlin got his panties in a bunch about, because Jalen and Telvin ain't want to come and, this him, and make the press, pictures and, shake hands and play nice. Yeah. Remember the voluntary workout, that's when they first all came together and really announced him. Them boys ain't come. They doing what they do. We training, bro. Ain't got time for that, bro. You know what I mean? I mean, it was voluntary.
Well, me personally, I think it's a bad move. I actually hate the move. I love Minshew Magic. I was actually on the verge of going to get me a Minshew Magic jersey.
Exactly. See what I'm saying?
Eventually, he was going to be in my closet, but I understand it is a business, and you did just pay Nick Foles all of this money, so you have to get what you paid for. You didn't have to, but you did. And unfortunately, you have to do what you got to do for exactly. You got to do what you got to do. Nick Foles is going to be out there, unfortunately. Let's hope that he doesn't get hurt. But for you, I know some of you fans want him to get hurt so he can go ahead and get back in the game and shoot. I know that's how y'all be thinking, but that ain't the move.
I mean, the pediatrician is always gonna be there. Like, we know what Nick Foles can do. Like, we know there's 2 things he can do. He comes off the bench very well and he gets injured. So 50-50 chance that some good stuff is gonna happen. From a career standpoint, he's average. Like, we want to talk about the Super Bowl MVP, but let's talk about a lot of guys who have won Super Bowl MVPs that we never think of as Hall of Famers.
Yes,
Brad Johnson. My man Trent Dilfer, I'm just saying it's a lot of guys who win Super Bowl MVPs. So I'm just saying that's just a thought. But the reason why I believe you play Minshew is because right now he's got the momentum, and he got you to a situation where you're 4-5. You probably should be 6-3. There's a couple games that coaching really lost you more than anything else. But momentum is a big thing in sports, and you capture it while you have it. When you bench him, we don't know if we'll ever be able to recapture that if something happens to Nick Foles. But let's say we played Nick Foles this week. I mean, we played Minshew this week, the next week, against one of the better teams in the Indianapolis Colts. I believe that's who we play next. Yeah. And he doesn't do well. Cool. Now you bring in Nick Foles and you start the rest of the season. You realize that, hey, it was good while it lasted. Now we can develop him. We'll have a good backup. You did not pay Nick Foles $88 million over 2 to 3 years to play. You paid him $88 million for you to win. And that's why I think people have to step back and think about it. You pay that person to win. I'm not comparing him to this person, so let's be clear. It's just the situation is similar. If the New England Patriots had that same exact mindset, no, Tom Brady would never have played because Drew Bledsoe was the guy who made all the money, and he was the franchise guy that they had brought in.
Exactly.
He was not the 6th-round pick. You play the hot hand, and what you do is you command more out of your damn coordinators. Filippo, there was nothing exotic or sexy about that offensive game plan. They didn't even play jag football.
They did.
The Houston Texans played jag football, but the Jags didn't play jag football.
They did.
What they did was it looked like they drew up a play in the dirt. They called it. It said, "Miss, you just run around and do the thing with your feet that you do, and then toss that bad boy up to somebody and pray for the best."
Exactly.
And what we got was 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, and we made the Houston Texans, who have a ton of injuries, look like they were the New England Patriots.
Exactly. Like I said, man, I think the core of the team, you lost a key part on defense, but you got to play more on offense now. You know, it's more on the offense now to me because now everybody knows you're running zone. And if you got a quarterback that's calling out coverages in his press conferences, you know what I mean? Like, bro, what you think he finna do to y'all? What you think DeAndre Hopkins is finna do to y'all? Like, you don't have Jalen, so he's not scared of you.
Why he didn't get off? Say why he didn't get off.
2.1? Yeah.
Boy, yay.
Yeah. You right.
See,
But look.
he do. He
But
do.
look, but
He do.
That's my
He
thing.
like getting physical.
That's my thing. Sometimes that one chess piece that's moved off the board allows the others to go and do what they need to do. So, like I said, when you have two lockdown corners, it's hard to do that. That game would have been much closer had we had our other piece, but it's gone.
It's 2.0.
Yeah.
But has anybody checked on Trey Herndon? Is he alive?
That's my point.
Because
There we go. That's my point.
That was
He
that
needs
was
to be on the
extremely-
sideline watching.
Yeah, that was
Take notes.
That was extremely rude of Duke Johnson. He had him with kicking his legs up like a dead bug.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate, quite unfortunate.
That would have never happened to Ramsey.
I'm talking about young Duke did that thing to him, boy. Mine was having a great week, boy. I'm just saying.
They is. Jesus.
But,
Speaking of.
I think one of our biggest problems too is that our OC was basically brought in to appease Nick and make a offense for Nick Foles, cause like I didn't understand the offensive game plan on Sunday. Like we were doing the dump offs and the little short passes. Texans weren't going for it. You got the leading AFC rusher, man. What?
And that's what I'm saying. That's why what we talked about
Y'all
beforehand.
already know Fournette is the kind of dude he going to need 25, 30 to get in that groove. He going to pop a couple long ones, and then that's going to bring that average up. But if you get to him 10 times and thinking like he going to just take off on some kind of Madden game, it's not going to happen, bro. You're going to always have 10 carries for like 30 yards. He'll have a 3.4, 3.1 yard average, and you looking like the run game ain't working. No, y'all not committed to it, bro.
He got to rough up the linebackers and stuff. He got to get
You
them
got to beat them up, bro.
for you to air it out.
You know what I mean?
That's why I thought that they had set Minshew up for the kill
Yeah.
for Nick Foles. It's like they already were preparing for Nick Foles to come back. That's what it looked like.
I mean, from the time they announced he was coming back to practice, bro, the writing was on the wall to me. I mean, that's why I kept railing that, man. If he hot, you got to go with the hot hand. But then after that, and basically at his worst game, it's kind of hard to argue because, like he said, Foles was brought here not just to win you games, but in their mind, conceptually, we were close. Foles is supposed to be the finish to get you to the Super Bowl and win it.
Yeah.
And you can guarantee me that. I don't really see why we're in a rush to put somebody who haven't thrown but one ball all year back in there.
I wasn't sold on folks coming here to get us.
I mean, I wasn't either, bro. So
yeah,
I'm just speaking for everybody else. Yeah, all the other Jag fans.
I think
You were.
I think Teddy would have been a better, cheaper option. I think.
I wanted Teddy B, actually.
I think.
Oh, yeah, okay, my bad.
Yeah. I think Teddy would have been a better option, along with another taller wide receiver on the outside. I think you give yourself a best chance. I think even if they would have kept Bortles, I think his safety blanket was AR-15.
Oh, that chopper.
To give you, he liked those 50-50 balls.
Exactly.
So he knew he wasn't a great thrower of the ball, but that's what gave him his best chance. Much like Brady. If Brady ain't got his safety blanket, you get to see who he really is. You know what I mean, on the field.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have Gronk, we see what's going on right now. It's hard for him to find that person. I could throw this ball up and I can get these 10 yards and get this first down. I can move the chains.
Yeah, because he got a lot of really small inside receivers with Edelman and all them. They're really more equipped for running the inside. Who that? Talking about the Patriots?
Yeah.
They got dismantled, though.
Yeah, they didn't play nobody. They been playing against.
They got dismantled.
Yeah,
they got dismantled, though. They didn't just lose.
God,
they got
that
dismantled.
Guy. We're not even going to talk about him. I'm sorry. Tom Coughlin, get off what Steven they say, the weed. I don't know what you was on, man. Taven Bryan, come on, man. Could have got him in the third round. Yeah.
Hey, welcome to Duval, baby.
All right, let's go to Willie Taggart.
Yes, Willie Tagg.
Willie Tagg.
Recently, Florida State has disassociated itself with one William Taggart. He's been fired. Do you feel like it was fair? You feel like race played a part in it?
I put it to you like this. Me personally, if that would have been, I don't know. Let's go in history. Let's see, a Ron Zook or a let's see who else. Malcolm Wayne. Muschamp. All these losing seasons from these same coaches. And they were given multiple opportunities, had great teams, great players, and ultimately didn't do anything. This guy had maybe this is his second season, correct?
Like a year and a half.
Year and a half. So let's say this. Okay, you inherited a team which the coach stopped completely recruiting everybody that they had on their list, everybody. So they lost out on a slew of commitments with people that wanted to come to the school. He had to revamp that.
Oh, you mean like the starting quarterback of Ohio State right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just completely quit that whole thing. Yeah, dude that went. Yeah, dude.
Oh, you talking about James Cook?
He wasn't even supposed to be there.
Brother Davo, shout out to Davo, man. I knew you could do it, my boy.
Well, anywho, you missed out on a lot of key commits and key players, and he had to salvage what that class was. And then on top of that, you had players that was already there. You've been to college. I've been to college. We know when coaches change, most of us are on the bubble from that last coach. And we got to make an impression because his class is coming in and he going to play his boys. You know what I mean? So now those guys are, damn, man, I don't know what my future going to look like. I don't know how this going to mesh with me and what I do best. And now you got half of the locker room and then you got the other half of the locker room. And from what I'm understanding, that none of it really meshed. And they're still having the same problems in the locker room. And that's showing on the field. That some guys are bought in and some guys are not. And, a lot of the old players are saying that a lot of those kids lack discipline. And it's like, okay, well, if they lack discipline, I need to go up there and check them boys. You know what I mean? Like the old days. Growing up, I used to always want to go to Florida State growing up because I would hear about how the old players would always be at the practices and really be into it. It was really competitive out there. It was first rounders going against first rounders every day. Like that type of atmosphere, that made me excited, and I was hearing about it. And it's like you don't hear about that no more. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think they really should go back to their roots. I think the players should really go back there and be there like it used to be.
Well, I can say that I know personally, like Snoop Menace, he went back up there and he worked out with the receivers with Scary Terry and Hilton and all them boys. So, you know what I'm saying? He shouted them out and tried to, get some of that unconquered spirit installed in them. There's a lot of players. I mean, I know James could probably attest to this better than me, but I believe there's a lot of players that's still involved, and especially with Taggart and his love for the program and, his connection through Bradenton, the South Florida area and all of that. So my biggest thing with the Taggart thing was, man, I was rooting for Taggart from day one. Obvious reasons, African-American, first African-American coach, with many African-Americans that are going to, the Power 5 programs, and basically we run college football. Without us, it wouldn't be the same landscape. So I was really happy to see a black coach get a chance at a top program, and I was all on board, when he came and he got off the bus and he was doing the chop, and I was like, okay. But when I seen him, it's just something was missing, bro. Something wasn't right, bro. You know what I mean? It was like we not lining up right. It's just small stuff, bro, that just kept week after week to where
Pee-wee ball.
Yeah, man, I couldn't even defend it. It's like, this is crazy, bro. Like, can we line up right, bro? Can we stop jumping off sides, bro? You know what I mean?
And y'all have the right number of players on the field on defense.
I mean, just crazy stuff like
simple
that, bro.
stuff that
Yes.
shouldn't even be errors in mid-game on live TV. It shouldn't be like that.
Like when Mickey was our defensive coordinator, yeah, we got a lot of penalties, but most of those penalties were from aggressive play. They weren't from silly plays. You know what I mean? Like, we celebrating, like, tackles after a dude and dropped 15 on 3rd and 12.
They was trying to put that backpack on.
You know what, bro?
The backpack was corny. That being said, the chain and the shoulder pads are corny too. All of those props that people put up are corny. But my mom, and almost every African American mom throughout the years, has always said, you got to be 2 to 3 times better than everybody else just to get an even playing field. So, one, there's a lot of things that Tag had to fight, but there was a lot of things that I believe a lot of mistakes that he made that got exacerbated because of a lot of the things that he had to fight. But at the end of the day, they were still his mistakes. I always tell people, people are like, he only got hired. White people tell you that he only got hired because he was black. Well, that's the most ignorant, demeaning thing that you could say to somebody. He was hired at Oregon. He beat out Dan Mullen. He beat out a lot of white people to a white athletic director at a white school.
He beat out the old coach.
Yeah, where Phil Knight beat Chip Kelly out again. Where Phil Knight said, I want to embrace this guy. And I want him to be the guy to face, and I believe in him being the first African-American coach. Stan Wilcox at Florida State happened to be black, but there's a lot of white people who have to sign off on that to make sure that he gets that job. So that's the first thing I want people to make an understanding of. The second thing he did, number 2, is when he came in way too friendly and way too much of a fan. Yeah. But let's realize why he did that. He did that because a coach of another race, but that's indifferent, demeaned him so bad and belittled him so bad and used this as a stepping stone to get somewhere else, that he felt that if I come in too hard, I'm going to lose these young African-American men who look like me. And I think his original cause was, I'm going to try to save these young men, and I'm going to show them that I am the embodiment of everything that you want to work and want to be in this position. We're going to be the first team that has an African-American head coach win a national championship. That was what the future was. That was the dream. That was what was sold. I personally believe that he may have went too far. You can't save everybody. You got to cut people. You have to bring the people who want to come on board. And I think his heart behind trying to get these young men graduated, trying to get these young men doing the right thing, is probably what ended up costing him his job. Now, once he got there and he realized how hard it was, the demons that plague African American men who are successful. I deal with this all the time, especially in my business. I know I've been successful in this. I know what it feels like to be successful. So the time when you're not feeling that success, what happens is you start looking in the mirror, you start questioning yourself, and you try to make decisions, but each decision you make kind of gets you a little bit further and further. Then you start questioning everybody around you, and are they really willing to work as hard as you are? So when I say that, he didn't let his coaches coach. He overpromised, underdelivered sometimes. He did what he had to do to try to get some kids in, and I think that's really where his dream became his nightmare. Because the reality of the situation is this: had he stayed his ass in Oregon, he'd probably have a playoff team by now.
Yeah, definitely be there.
And he came to Florida State and all the problems that he inherited were I want to say he inherited these problems.
Yeah, Jimbo.
The offensive line was bad when Jimbo was there. Jimbo lost 4 quarterbacks during his time there. Jimbo had people transferring out. Jimbo lost a lot of linebackers. So the voids that they had were there. And do I believe it was fair? No, life ain't fair. Do I believe it was the right thing? He probably deserved to be fired after this season, but professionalism gives you 3. That's what the profession says. It gives you 3. But I will say, did race play a factor? Was it the factor? No. Was it a factor? Yes. And the only reason I say that is by that's like little subtleties and little words and phrases that get said, repeated, and he looks stupid. He looked this. He's far. You don't get to that position. Yeah, he looks over and he looks lost. Where's the passion? Oh, he's showing too much passion. He's doing these things like that. You can't win for losing. But I will say this: FSU admin has made itself look stupid for bowing to pressures that were bigger than what the record was. If you fire the coach, my bad, I'm sorry. If you fire him and you got a replacement and it's truly Bob Stoops, and you can announce Bob Stoops on Thursday or Friday, I'm gonna be there. Like what's being predicted and what I've broken the 5th quarter. I have no problem. I will applaud them. That's a big boy move.
Right.
But if you raise $20 million to fire a coach 4 weeks left in the season who has a top 15 recruiting class that would be better, to let them be poached, nah, bro, that's bigger than wins and losses. That means you just did something that was stupid, because you could have done everything that you wanted to do in the coaching search with him still being the head coach and protect your recruiting class for 2 more years. What that shows is when we don't want a house word in place, that's right. So I can't say the other word, but I say a house word. You cut off your nose to spite your face.
Right.
That was not good business, and right now it looks not only fiscally irresponsible, it looks like we run a Mickey Mouse inept organization, and you can't be a big boy program making moves like that.
Nah, you can't, and that's what that's one of the main reasons why I really disagree with what they did, because this is nothing any different from what happened last time with Jimbo. You're losing key recruits. You're using Cam is gone. LeBourne may be gone, and you lost one of the top running backs in the nation behind that, because now this kid doesn't know who's coming in, and there's no definite. And then his leaks are coming out. Leaks ain't good, you know what I mean? If it was him, he don't want to. That information shouldn't be out there. So it's like, at the end of the day, like I said, I don't think. I'm hoping this wasn't the same thing like with Jimbo and Bobby in the end. You know what I mean? It was like Jimbo was not, that offense was not the same. Like, you got this, how you get here, the offense ain't, it was better last year, but it's still not. But as soon as Bobby left, we're in the national championship game with a freshman. Like, how your offense clicking like this, bro? You had what's going on? And the defense, oh my God, like, you had these same players, bro. What's happening? So that's just one thing. That was just my question. Like, okay, Kendall Browse, he got his offensive line coach. He got everything that he wants. The offense ain't clicking. What's going on? Like something that it just feels like the whole offense is being set back. But we'll see what happens in the coming weeks if they'll turn loose or not.
What I've been hearing is that they didn't get along, low key. That him and Willie was still beefing. That Willie, some of the play calling, and Willie still was not just exclusively on his head coaching thing. That he was trying to be head coach. Just wearing too many hats. He was trying to be head coach, still be offense coordinator. I can't really blame him. I mean, my neck is on the line. You feel these people talking. You hear the whispers. You know they breathing down your neck. So I don't know how true that was, but that's what I heard part of the friction between him and Kendall Browse was.
But just like bro just said, you hired an offensive coordinator that's proven his stuff works. Nobody even heard of Baylor, bro. Nobody heard of Baylor or anything. RG3, listen, you gotta think.
He didn't
about
coach RG3 for the record. Just putting that out there.
No. I'm not saying that, but he was a part of the staff. But what I'm saying is, when he was at these areas, he didn't have the talent. He didn't have close to this talent at Florida State that he had other areas that he was at. Nowhere near it.
What I believe is a coordinator's job is to what?
Score points.
No, I'm saying that's part of it, but I'm saying the root word of coordinator is to coordinate.
Right.
So if it doesn't look coordinated, whose fault is that? Simple question. If it's the coordinator, right?
Coordinator.
So, I mean, so I say all that to say is you were hired for $1 million to save a man's job. And I'm gonna put it like this. Hypothetically speaking, if the offense looks really good at Boston College, the fix was in. If Bob Stoops is hired as a coach and Kendall Browse is the offensive coordinator, Bob Stoops and Kendall Browse have a relationship. The ironic thing is Jim Leavitt and Bob Stoops were co-defensive coordinators at Kansas State.
See?
It's a lot of lot of serious coincidences in here.
You see?
But I say all that to say you brought up Jimbo Fisher, and I remember Jimbo Fisher came into Florida State with a plan. He came in, he met all the right boosters, met all the people who the decision makers, learned what it was like to be at Florida State. The booster and got good friendships with the boosters. The boosters in panic, thinking that Jimbo was going to leave and be a head coach at UAB or somewhere like that. They put him as the head coach of Wade, and Bobby Bowden did not make him the head coach of Wade, and the boosters made him that. He was in charge of recruiting, and he had a philosophy that I could give me 3 years, I'll get this thing back on track. Well, he got Bobby up out of there before year 3 because if they would have won, there was no telling if Bobby would have retired or when he would have stepped down. So I say Jimbo came in there with a plan to become the head coach of the Florida State University. Kendall Browse knew that in his own strength, he could not erase the stink of what his father, his administration did. So what he did was he rode the wave of his 2 years at Baylor, the last 2 years where they did pretty good. I would always encourage people to go look up the record against ranked teams or how much how his offense produced, and you're going to see numbers like 7, 17, 20, 10. Things that aren't very sexy, but now when he played teams that weren't ranked, you'll see like 63, 70, crazy banana numbers. But he got in as a guru. Jimbo got in as a guru, offensive guru. But people don't remember that Jimbo took an LSU team, I think it was versus Auburn. He won it was a 9-6. On that offense, he had the number 1 overall quarterback, number 1 overall pick. He had 2 first-rounders at wide receivers, eventual first-rounder at running back. He was able to score a grand total of 9 points. That's what I call a guru on defense, maybe, but not on offense. Offensive gurus are Mike Leach. Mike Leach puts up points no matter what. Offensive gurus can dial it up. Like the guy at LSU, that's an offensive guru. He made LSU into something. So, again, I just believe it might have been a fix, but I also believe you hired him. And you have to hire people that you can trust to do their job, but that you trust also have your back. And I think Taggart's his paranoia, as well as him wanting to win and succeed so bad, might have led him to bring a wolf into his sheep house. So, I mean, but that being said, if Bob Stoops works, then go knows.